I think it's a very good film to watch. I really enjoyed it. I thought the story was easy to understand. It was a very interesting story. Obviously not knowing what's going to happen next, but it's a film which I really enjoyed watching, and I'd love to see more of it.
Well, initially I was a bit like, I was wondering what it was about, because with short films it's a bit hard to actually anticipate what you could actually put across in such a short amount of time. But straight away, the voices, the way the different magnifications inside, outside, it's actually really, really interesting the way the camera was used to describe how the person was feeling.
I really liked it actually, like the whole storyline and the way it kind of made you feel on edge the whole way through, all added to the story, and the way it was presented, it just made you feel like you were in the story more.
I was expecting a horror actually, with the black and white effect and sort of how ominous, and also the scene of abuse at the start. I was expecting a horror myself.
I like the twist at the end where he realised that everything around it was fake. It was sort of like an inversion of Sixth Sense.
I found it very captivating, because it had me intrigued from the start to the sudden change in music and sudden change in scenery. I was confused as to where it was going, but I was able to follow through it.
The storyline was very clear. I think the effects used helped the viewer to understand what was happening in the film in terms of the music being played. The voiceovers again of the characters were fantastic. It did help to set the scene. It just made the whole story very much easier to understand.
Clear, yes. I would say, like, at first, because I like to think quite outside the box anyway, and I think that it was great to kind of see the ending. I could see an element of it, but usually I could anticipate something, but this kind of actually blew my mind in terms of the way the dolls were used as just kind of figurants of the guy's imagination. It was just, I think, like, film-wise, I think it was actually very clever what was done. Really, really good.
I didn't think it was, to be honest. It started off a bit shaky, but I think towards the end of the movie it started to clear up a bit. I think it explained everything quite well, but still it was quite unclear.
Like what was actually happening was very easy to catch on to. It's more the subplot of how the Oedipus complex was featured. That was a bit unclear. You'd have to actually look out for that, but it's a nice touch nonetheless.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. I think everything, you understand it perfectly from the first viewing, and how the Oedipus complex is the part where you kind of need to look into a bit more to actually realise it's there.
Totally, especially with the narrator in the background. That totally assisted the viewer throughout the entire segment.
I think the cinematics were great. Again, it helped majorly in terms of helping the viewer to understand what was going on. I think the black and white effect was fantastic. Again, it added something a bit different to the film. But again, the music played. It did help set the scene a lot. It intrigued the audience as well. Again, the voiceovers used by the characters again helped. It was something a bit different as well, but it also helped to set the scene and let the audience member know what's going on. So I thought the cinematics very much helped the film.
Wow, I like the different shades. I like how there wasn't always just complete voiceovers all the time. The use of the different noises, natural as well as the bringing in of music. It was actually really, really cleverly done, I believe, and it was. It worked well. It was like light and shade. It wasn't just too much of one thing. I think it was a really, really good balance of everything.
I really liked the way it was filmed, like the use of black and white kind of thing, and the place where it was set and stuff. It was really good. And there was a flash of light when the doll walked into that room. But
yeah, I think that's probably the best bit about the film, the way it was filmed and the way the settings was used. And the lighting, it just added to the whole atmosphere, and the way it kind of made you feel and portrayed the feelings that I think would whoever was filming wanted to bring out.
Like what they want to put.
Yeah.
I think they were great. Like great camera angles. The black and white effect. Again, it was great for creating a sort of creepy atmosphere that just it held onto your attention more.
Yeah, I think the melancholy was showed very well in the black and white atmosphere.
Yeah, the cinematics I thought were terrific. My favourite bit was the mirror shot, with the leading character looking into the mirror with the subconscious in the background. That really gave it the ominous effect.
I'll stare and I'll stare and I'll stare, but I'll scream.
I'd probably say the soundtrack in the background. I think, again, as I said, it helps to set the scene. There's different styles of music for different scenes, and again, it matched what was going on as well. You can kind of relate to it as well. I think the soundtrack used was perfect, and it just made the whole storyline a lot more understandable for the audience.
Now, okay, where do I begin? Like, I've touched upon how the fact that the storyline, the use of music, light and shade, I would have to think that with everything done, I have to say that it must be the way that it was just all done, like the actual story itself. It wasn't like the usual, I don't know, boy meets girl, or the like a good cop bad. There's something just different, and I think that's what drew me in even more, because I couldn't anticipate what was there.
I think, like we said, it would be the cinematics, because it was just interesting that we had made it. It like added another layer onto the whole movie.
Yeah, like filming through the doorway and like use of focus and stuff. I think when they were eating, the boy was completely out of focus, but then eventually he started to come into focus.
Just the eerie nature of the whole.
Oh, and the sound, the bangs and stuff. Exactly. It was pretty good.
I like how it touches on the Oedipus complex, which is sort of a very taboo and rare thing to mention, like in modern day society.
Yeah, I like the hallucinations of it. I think it represents a lot more of a deeper character. Like, initially you don't get to know much about him, but once you see the hallucinations and his general outlook on things, I think that's a lot more, shows a very deep character content.
I agree. I think the Oedipus complex theme in the background was the intriguing part of this illicit relationship that he's in, which makes it the more taboo.
It's so cold in this bed.
Obviously, I understand that it's a short film, so time's obviously very restricted, but I think if the film was probably 2-3 minutes longer, I think you probably could have seen a bit more about it in terms of maybe the storyline extending, or maybe seeing a bit more of the characters. Again, it's a great film for the time which it had, and I feel that it would have only got better had there been a few more scenes in it. I think just making the film maybe 1 or 2 minutes longer probably would have helped. It just would have made it a bit of a better film.
The way it ended, it could have been a bit more kind of like, I did not see that coming, like whatsoever. Like, just like maybe not really dramatic, but I think a bit more of a cliffhanger would have made the audience think even more deeper into it. Maybe the ending, I think that's the thing that I lacked, at least for me, though it was good anyway.
Again, I think it was a clarity for me. I think I wasn't quite sure where it was going at first. I didn't know why he was in that room or wherever he was, but then towards the end it did clear up a lot, and it was quite dramatic. But
I think that's probably my least favourite bit as well.
I find it kind of a shame that the subplot of the Oedipus complex was sort of vaguely presented, and one of those things you'd have to purposely look out for.
I'd have to say the music at the end where he kills himself, I think that music was a bit off for the atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree. Perhaps if the relationship he was in was more explicit, so it's more obvious how strong the Oedipus complex was, it would have made it a lot better.